Alright, today I thought I would show off a little bit about being able to render multiple layers of text and multiple images. So the technique, if we remember, for how we were rendering all of the geometry was to use the VBO and IBO technique, where basically we take all of the geometry and just make it as though it's one long triangle strip. So just kind of like we have a triangle here, so there's a point, 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 point. So every square is made up of two triangles. And then actually we have a fake triangle afterward, which is called the degenerate triangle technique. And then it ends up, so they're kind of like 3 points right here, and then 1 point right here. So we just kind of keep drawing triangles. So even though they look like they're separate pieces, they're actually one piece of geometry, and the GPU is able to just eat this up really quickly. Unfortunately, you can only there are a lot of limitations that come with that, and one of the big challenges is making it so that the textures work kind of properly with that. And we're using texture rendering for the text. So you can kind of see down here, for example, I have the canvas rendering the font out. This then becomes a texture image that's sent over to the GPU and is applied to one of these rectangles as a texture. But that means that we have lots of different textures, so we can't actually treat any of the text as though it's one buffer. So we incur a little bit of a speed hit with that, but it turns out to be actually okay. It still scales pretty well and it's very smooth. And then we ended up using the same technique for images, where we have the two triangles per image, and we simply switch to and bind the texture that's the image to the GPU, and we'll go ahead and render out that single piece of geometry. So each of the layers of text and each layer or image represents a separate draw call, which is a little bit of a bummer because it is a little bit more expensive. Whereas all of the kind of just normal shade and eventually the gradient geometry is actually just drawn as one huge piece of geometry, and it's incredibly fast. But that said, like, we do actually now have the ability to have multiple pieces of text, which is great. And I've switched over the inspector over here just for the debug, and we can kind of see that we have a nice mixture of the VBO, so just the rectangles, the text layers, and the image layers here are working just fine. So that's today's video. Thought I would dive in a little bit about how we're actually doing the rendering for these pieces. Hope you enjoyed it.